Chapter 10, Setbacks. Clark's party was soon on the Jefferson River. Half of the party rode the horses and half canoed, keeping each other in sight. On July 13th, they all reached the three forks of the Missouri. Clark, Sacagawea, and Pope, Charbonneau, York, and 8 other men were to ride to the Yellowstone River with the 49 horses. The remaining 10 men would canoe down the Missouri River to meet Lewis. The Nez Perce guides rode off for home, leaving Sacagawea as a guide. She pointed out another shortcut, a gap in the mountain. Sacagawea had now safely led Clark and his party more than 40 miles. The next leg of the trip home was through Yellowstone River. On July 25th, they saw a high sandstone bluff that Clark immediately named Pompey's Tower, later changed to Pompey's Pillar. It was about 150 feet high, with a base that covered some 2 acres. Clark carved W. Clark and July 25th, 1806, on the bluff. His signature and that date remain there today. After 4 days of riding, there was another setback. Crow Indians stole 24 of their finest horses. Clark ordered 4 men to choose the best remaining horses and ride down to Fort Mandan. There, they were to spread the news that Clark's group was on its way. From then on, Clark, Sacagawea, Pope, Charbonneau, and the remaining men traveled down the Yellowstone River in the canoes the men had repaired. Carried eastward by the river's strong current, they made good time. Lewis was to meet Clark where the Yellowstone River flowed into the Missouri River. When Clark arrived, Lewis wasn't there, but the mosquitoes were, and how they attacked. Clark left Lewis a note before he and his group escaped the mosquitoes and continued down the Missouri River. Clark's note said he would join Lewis at the Great Falls. A few days later, the 4 soldiers who had been sent ahead to Fort Mandan met up with Clark, Charbonneau, Sacagawea, and Pope. The soldiers had traveled down the river hoping that they would catch up with Clark, because Indians had stolen their horses. The men had killed some elk and buffalo and stretched their skins over wooden circular frameworks to make what the Indians called bull boats. When the skin dried, each bull boat could carry a surprising number of people. While Clark and his group were traveling south down the Missouri River, Lewis and the 3 soldiers headed north in order to pick up the red peregrine. When Clark and his group were traveling south down the Missouri River, Lewis and 3 soldiers headed north in order to pick up the red peregrine. But when they found it, the boat was in such bad condition that it couldn't be used. They left it behind and continued on horseback. They had been warned that there were dangerous Blackfoot Indian country. Sure enough, one night the Blackfoot came and stole 7 of their horses. Jefferson had ordered Lewis and Clark not to kill an Indian, but when the Blackfoot also tried to steal the men's guns, a battle broke out. One of the soldiers stabbed a Blackfoot to death. Lewis shot and killed a second Blackfoot. Lewis and the 3 men left Blackfoot country in a hurry. The 4 men rode 100 miles at top speeds to the Great Falls, pursued most of the way by the Blackfoot. The rest of Lewis's party joined them at the Great Falls. There, they found the white peregrine where they had hidden it in the years before. On August 11th, Lewis and his men pushed off down the Missouri River to meet Clark. On the way, Lewis and another man stopped to hunt elk. Going in different directions, the other man, who had poor eyesight, shot what he thought was an elk. Only it wasn't an elk. His bullet had hit Lewis in the rear end. Although Lewis could hardly walk, he and his men reconnected with Clark. The two groups had been separated for 40 days. 40 days. Although in terrible pain, Lewis was never happier than he was when he saw the smiling face of William Clark. It was a joyous reunion for the co-captain.